Now we're going to take a look at what to do once your opponent has flattened you out when you're in half guard bottom. This can be a nightmare of a position, especially if the person on top of you is a lot bigger. A lot of people don't know what to do. You know, they know that they want the underhook, they know that they want to bar the face, but everything up top is just so heavy that they can't get there. So here's an option for you smaller people. So Patrick has gotten me in half guard. Not only has he gotten me in half guard, he's flattened me out. And this can be a nightmare, especially if they're controlling the face, and, they're all doing all this other stuff. So the first thing that I like to do is start to control right here on the hip. My spare hand obviously can come here underneath at the armpit. We'll see it at another angle in a second. But don't drape it up over the back, and certainly don't do this, okay? Nice and easy. Now, what I want to do is I want to bring my knee that's here, the half guarding knee, up onto the hip. Couple problems with that. Number one, I'm using it to hold half guard. Number two, he's squishing me, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to start to make just a little bit of space like that. I'm arching my shoulders so it doesn't really push him off me. If you're bigger and you can push them, that's awesome, but I don't want you to get caught up in thinking that pushing their hips away is really that important. So if he is dominating up top and he's really tight, he's making a decision to dominate me here. You can dominate low or high. It's very difficult to do both. Once they're controlling here and I've controlled the hip, now his hips are nice and light. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch my feet here and I'm going to take half guard with the outside leg. This is a traditional way of doing half guard. A lot of people used to do it that way, really before we came up to this. So from here, now I'm going to start to bring my knee to the inside. And it doesn't matter if he stays controlling right here. All right? It's important that we have this. Now, I'm going to turn my chest away. I'm going to start to arch my back. I'm using my shin and hip, or excuse me, my shin and his hip to create a bind, so that way when I use all of my core muscles, that I can make space right here. Now, you saw Patrick's arms opened up. That's really convenient, and it's probably more of a product of me being a lot bigger than him than about me being more stronger than him, or the technique here. Not always are their arms going to open up. We'll look what to do in a second there. But once I get here, my favorite thing to do is make sure that my chest is turned. I'm going to get my underhook and I'm going to come back underneath. Now I'm nice and deep underneath him because, again, his body was stretched out. Let's look at it that same way, and then we'll look at what happens if their arms don't open. Again, I'm blocking that hip. The hip, me blocking the hip is a product of making sure that he doesn't close that distance, but more so that he doesn't reverse his hips. If he sits here, man, I'm in deep trouble. Back up. So this can kind of ensure that that doesn't happen. So again, I'm going to switch my feet. We'll look at that in a second. And I'm going to start to bring that bottom shin on. Now don't try to stretch here. If you try to stretch here, the floor is there. I promise you're not going to move the floor. You do need to turn up on your side. You don't need a whole lot. Hold that right there. And I'm going to arch my body. Awesome. From here, my arm comes up, just like I taught that repummel. I'm going to bring that in. I'm going to bend my body. I'm going to come through and control. Let's take a look at what happens if you're small, the other person outweighs you by a lot, their arms are a lot stronger, and you can't break them open. That happens sometimes. Same angle. He's got control. He's got me flattened out. Oh my God. Life's terrible. How did I get here? Half guard sucks. All right? All these things are trying to go through your mind right now. Control the hip. Switch my legs. Move that shin in. And now when I stretch, I didn't turn my chest. I can't get the legs open. Or maybe I did turn my chest and I still can't get it. He's letting his body stretch out. That's fine. I'm going to take the inside of my knee right here. I'm going to clamp down on his arm. I'm going to turn. When he starts to base, that's when I come right back here. The chances of you rolling them over are like 0, but the chances of you making space so that you can cut that corner with your ankle are awesome. All right. Oh, Patrick's got me. All right, so I've got my typical half guard. I'm squeezing really tight. I've blocked that hip like we talked about, and this hand right here will control. I don't want to leave it up here draped over the back, okay? If you want to grab the belt, that's okay too. But now, remember, I'm going to switch my feet. So this leg, when it comes off, I can't just take it out. He'll hop over. So I'm going to bring that foot to the inside of the calf right there. This can be difficult, I understand, but it doesn't have to happen fast. If you have to kind of like fish for it to get here, that's fine. I can make some space, bring that shin in. Now you see my back is still flat. I do want to turn my chest towards the wall. You can lift that hand up to make some space on the head. And now I'm going to banana my body right here. If his arms break, that's awesome. I repummel, lead with my hips. If he keeps that grip and I can't get it to break, remember, I'm going to keep nice and tight over here on the arm. I'm gonna use the inside of my hip to start to take them over. He posted. A lot of times they'll break out and come all the way over here. That's fine. I come right back to close guard. This is a really great option if you're not as big as your opponent. It'll give you so much more space underneath them, and playing with their base back there on their hips will get them to open up their hands. It just gives you some options for sure.